morning. Buenos días. En primer lugar, pues quiero agradecer, lógicamente, a la organización del Congreso Internacional de la Radio, especialmente a la Universidad Autónoma de Barcelona y a la cadena SER, por la capacidad que han tenido para celebrar este evento cuando se cumplen 100 años de la radio y algo más de 30 años de Internet. La jornada de ayer me pareció que transcurrió con el label de excelencia y esperamos que esta mañana de sábado también pues, siga de esta manera. También quiero daros las gracias a todas las personas que asistís en la sala en este momento de manera presencial y no me quiero olvidar de las personas que nos siguen vía streaming, también por YouTube, en esta mañana otoñal de 16 de noviembre. Vale, esta sesión tiene por objeto centrarnos en la distribución de contenidos a través de las plataformas propias y de las otras variantes de plataformas de audios. Estamos, como ya hemos visto, en un universo, ya más casi que ecosistema digital, en el que se ha producido pues, una ruptura del monopolio en la distribución y en la comercialización del audio y donde la irrupción de las plataformas pues, está renovando las lógicas narrativas y también expresivas de géneros y programas tradicionales, ¿no? Asistimos a una hibridación total en un universo radiofónico convergente, del que ayer también nos lo explicaba muy bien el profesor y catedrático Emili Prado. Como consecuencia, los patrones de consumo pues, de usuarios y usuarias están sobre dispositivos fijos y móviles están cambiando, ¿no? Con las personas que nos acompañan en esta sesión vamos a hablar de retos, de desafíos que han traído precisamente los distintos modos de distribución y en este caso de las plataformas. Bueno, vamos a invitar a nuestro ponente que suba al estrado porque él es Lawrence Harrison, quien lidera la creación y gestión de las alianzas de Radio Player con empresas de tecnología y de la industria automotriz, no solamente en Europa, sino también a nivel internacional. Radio Player es la organización oficial sin ánimo de lucro, respaldada por emisoras que ayuda a que la radio sea una gran experiencia, ¿no? En los coches y también en otros dispositivos. Harrison trabaja con los principales fabricantes de automóviles y proveedores de tecnología multimedia en torno a metadatos, diseño de interfaz de usuario y también en el desarrollo de la radio inteligente, en automóviles siempre conectados, ¿no? Radio Player tiene alianzas con grupos como Volkswagen, BMW, Renault y NIO. NIO, como sabéis, es una empresa multinacional con sede en Shanghai, China, que diseña y desarrolla vehículos eléctricos de alto rendimiento y también autónomos. Harrison ha potenciado la experiencia de radio en más de 3,5 millones de automóviles, una experiencia de radiodifusión que está marcada, desde mi punto de vista, por la flexibilidad de la conectividad a Internet. Él es miembro también actual de la Junta Directiva de Radio DNS y de World Up y también ha sido presidente de este último grupo. Bueno, cualquiera de los grupos mencionados pues, son grupos que potencian la radiodifusión de automóviles, que lograron que la radio digital DAB se incluyera un poco pues, en esta modificación, ¿no? Y en esta nueva tecnología. El título de la ponencia es Radio Player, la plataforma de radiodifusión y bueno, pues tenemos que decir que es la única plataforma para radiodifusores, ¿no? Y propiedad también de radiodifusores que ayuda a la industria de la radio a asegurar un poco el futuro en un mundo conectado. Y también pues, a través de la innovación y de las asociaciones clave, Radio Player permite a los radiodifusores controlar la difusión y la distribución en línea, aumentar la audiencia y los ingresos, nos contará Harrison, y por todo ello y por muchas más cosas que nos va a contar él, pues ya le cedo la palabra. Muchísimas gracias. Good morning.
I will talk about Radio Player and all our products and what we do to keep radio strong in connected devices for our broadcasters. First of all, I need to say thank you. Thank you to many of you in the audience today who I know will already be part of Radio Player, broadcasters who already take part in the collaboration that Radio Player is. But for those of you that don't know who Radio Player is, I will introduce you so you get a good understanding. As I said at the start, the first thing to know about Radio Player is that it is yours. It is a broadcaster-owned and funded platform. At its heart, it is a collaboration between public service, commercial radio, broadcasters coming together to agree on technology and to keep radio strong in connected devices. But you own Radio Player. You direct what we do. And because of that, Radio Player allows you to control your distribution through our products in various different connected devices. We are designed through our consumer products and other partnerships to be complementary to your strategies and your own apps and products. That's really important because we should be there to help you grow listening, and it really importantly, and we heard this in the last session, to grow revenue, additional revenue. And that's important to Radio Player and will form part of our strategy going forward, trying to increase monetization opportunities for our broadcasters. Radio Player is also only dedicated to radio. We have no competing interests. Our goal is to keep radio strong. And we do that by innovating and creating partnerships with tech platforms, with car companies that can benefit our radio stations. And on that note, I'm going to talk about all the products that Radio Player has, consumer products, but I should say right at the start that our main aim is that we are really focused on keeping radio strong in connected cars, and that is broadcast radio, all right, at the heart of what we call hybrid. That's where broadcast works with the internet to create a really rich experience in the car. That is our priority. So I hope that gives you an understanding of Radio Player and what we're about. And what I want to do is to tell a story about how Radio Player keeps radio listening strong in all connected devices. And I'm going to do that through a day in the life of a character, a day in the life of Sonia. Now, you will see that this is, and some of you may know, this is AI's best generative character that we've put together here. And of course, it's only a coincidence that this character has the name of Sonia, who is also, as some of you may know, Sonia DeMarco, who runs Radio Player Spain. But this, of course, has no relation whatsoever. But I'll tell the story in the context of a day in the life of Sonia. So, Sonia wakes up, and when she does so, she would have the Radio Player app on her smartphone, and one of the most popular features in this is the alarm function. So she wakes up, and immediately her favourite station plays on the Radio Player application. The images you see here is of the new version of the Radio Player app, which will be launching in a few weeks. It has a new, clean design and some new features as well. But you can start your day listening to the mobile app. Then Sonia gets up, she goes downstairs, and she turns on the TV. And she realises that with her new mobile app, she can synchronise with the Radio Player TV app. What that means is two things. One, she can continue the listening to the station she's been listening to automatically with the TV app. And two, it will synchronise her favourite stations that she saved on her mobile application with the TV application. Easy to do using the QR code. She can also now see that she can synchronise this listening in this way with all the Radio Player apps and products. That could be on the TV, on the mobile, web player, and also in the future in the car. Again, trying to keep listening strong with a really consistent experience. She listens to the TV app, and again, you'll see here, this is a new version of the TV app, a consistent, familiar look and feel to the mobile application. And that ease of use, that familiarity, drives engagement and makes sure that she feels comfortable in all of those products. Sonia also has a friend who happens to have a Movistar Plus TV. And in that, in the Movistar Plus TV, we will also find what we call the Radio Player Living app. And this is a really important new product. What this actually means is that you go into the Movistar Plus TV, the Radio Player app is pre-installed, and so it is the default radio experience in that product. And we know how important that platform can be for the market in Spain. Then, so Sonia's played with her TV a bit, listened to the headlines. She goes into her kitchen to cook breakfast, and she turns on her smart speaker. And the good news is that in her smart speaker, depending on which device it is, she will play the stream directly from you, the broadcaster stream coming through Radio Player. Now this is really important, and this is the first part of the importance we place on partnerships that we create with some of the big tech companies on your behalf to keep radio strong. So the reason that the stream will play from your station through Radio Player is that we have these partnerships in place with, for example, with Google, with Amazon and Sonos. And that's really important because it means you are in control of your distribution. The streams aren't being played by another third party who may be monetizing over the top. And at the heart of these partnerships is going to be strategies for how we can maybe create additional revenue for our broadcasters. It's interesting because these are big partnerships. To give you an example, the integration that Google is doing with Radio Player is the biggest integration they have ever done on that platform. So it takes some time. But these are really important partnerships for us. And again, it means control for the broadcasters because you are working through a platform like Radio Player that you own and direct, and also in the future, the ability, hopefully, to generate new additional revenue. So, Sonia then leaves her house and she gets into the car to drive to work. And the good news is, she gets into the car and she turns on the radio. And we're talking here, let's be really clear, we're talking here about the radio button. We're talking about the broadcast radio experience. Now, I said at the start, for us, we believe this needs to be hybrid. And what we mean by that is broadcast radio working with the internet to create a really rich experience. It needs to sound good and look good as well. But the first thing is that radio is prominent and easy to find. Very difficult in today's environment in the car, and I'll come back to that. And also the branding is very clear. There's a nice high-resolution station logo. She can search easily through an A to Z list of stations to find the one that she wants, save it as a favourite, and information like track and artist, now playing data, is easily available there as well. Now, this is possible because she's got into a car with a car manufacturer that Radio Player has a relationship with. And this is the core part of what we're doing with our partnerships. Creating these partnerships with the car makers to keep radio strong, broadcast radio, the radio button strong in connected cars. So today, there's over 3.5 million cars on Europe's roads powered by Radio Player. And just to be clear, when we create these partnerships with the car companies, we are using the broadcaster's official metadata. That could be your station logos, your station names, track and artist now playing information, your streams, information about where you're broadcasting on terrestrial broadcast, which platforms. And we're providing that through our technology to the car companies and allowing them to create this really rich experience. Now, as part of those partnerships, there are some key things that we focus on. The first one is radio prominence. And again, this is about the radio button. So many of you will know that in today's connected car environment, there are more and more competing entertainment services coming into the car. And it's really important that we are fighting for radio's prominence in that environment. So we have those discussions. We have that as a requirement of our partnerships to talk about prominence and try and get a prominent position for the radio button. We know how important that is. That's not an easy conversation to have in today's environment, but we have it and we fight for prominence. We also focus on the user experience and increasingly now on user data, which I'll talk about later. You can see some of the brands there that we have partnerships, and there'll be more announcements to come in the future, in the coming months. So I'll come back to cars a bit later, but Sonia then gets to work. She gets into work, she turns on her PC, and she can listen to the Radio Player web application. Here's an example of the new app. Again, consistent look and feel, familiar. She feels at home with that. She can synchronize the listening, keep listening to your station if it's her favorite. And of course, this is live radio and podcasts. That's the case for all our apps, all our products, which we know is a really important part of your business. Now, who knows how much work she gets done? She's listening to radio all the time at work, but then she leaves work and she gets back into her car to drive home. Now, I said that the broadcast radio is our primary focus, and that is absolutely the case. But because we have consumer products, and today in new cars, some new cars, you can download an app direct to the dashboard. So we also have a Radio Player automotive app, which is a streaming app. Again, you could synchronize this to a mobile phone, something like that in the future. And this includes live radio and, of course, podcasts. It's another option to keep people listening to radio in the car through a platform that you control in terms of the distribution. She also knows that a friend has a Renault, and in the Renault car there's actually a bespoke version of this application called Radio Player for Renault. That's part of a unique partnership we have with the guys at Renault, and it's got some cool features, and she knows that her friend has been talking about that. And also she compare her Radio Player mobile app to the screen through technologies like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So this is where you can mirror what's on your mobile phone on the screen, and our application is compatible with that. Now, of course, if she has a broadcaster's own app, the likelihood is she will pair that app and it will have the same technology available. But we know that for some people, they like the comfort of going in through an app that has all the stations available, and in that case, it's good to do it through Radio Player, again, a platform that you own. So that sort of takes you through a journey, I hope, through Sonia in terms of some of the products that Radio Player has and how we're keeping listening strong. Just a few things that are sort of coming soon to products. A lot of the thinking that we're doing now is about how we can improve a kind of a deeper dive into the brands, our radio stations' brands. So if you're listening to one of your stations and you like the content, maybe you want more content like what you're listening to from that station. So, for example, if it's hybrid radio in the car, broadcast radio, how can you then find that more content, those podcasts maybe, or catch-up shows from your station? So we're thinking about features that will do that. That could even be a link through to your own broadcaster app. We're also working hard on personalization features. So AI-based recommendations is an example of that, which we now have the capability to provide. That would take consent from the user, of course, to understand what they're listening to and their listening habits, but it will enable us to provide a more personalised set of recommendations based on what the user really wants. And of course, as I said earlier, you'll be hearing more about the increasing number of car partnerships that we will have in the future, and those will be about broadcast radio, keeping that strong in connected cars. The other thing that's really important, which I mentioned at the start, is our new data platform. So we've been working hard on creating this new data and AI platform. And what this will do is, this means that you will be able to track the listening to your stations across all of the products that I've just mentioned. So it could be tracking the listening from the mobile app, the web app, the TV app, but also in the car. We now have the capability to start collecting that data, potentially on broadcast radio listening in the car. And we'll be making this platform available to our broadcasters. The other important thing about this is that you will get a dashboard that you'll be able to see your listening on, only for your station, of course, but you'll be able to integrate that with your own data systems. So you can take a feed from us and integrate it with your own data platform so you can see a total amount of listening to your stations. Again, Radio Player trying to be part of your strategies in a really helpful way. So, I hope that has given you a good overview to Radio Player and the products that we have and how we're trying to keep radio listening strong on your behalf. Just to summarise a few things that I've said, I hope you've got the message that we are your platform. It's a collaboration, Radio Player is a collaboration between broadcasters, and you have control, you direct what we do. That is unique, and it's important in today's distribution environment. We prioritise radio. That's all we do. And we should be an extension of your strategies with regard to all these connected devices, because we know that for some users, they will want to use your apps for sure. We should be complementary to that, and that's what we're designed for. We're looking to innovate more and more in the future. We have more investment from our broadcasters to do that, but that's about growing listening for you. And as I said before, it's about capitalising on the opportunities to create additional revenue as well. That will be something you're going to see more of from Radio Player. And then finally, just to reiterate, our main focus is on keeping broadcast radio strong in connected cars and radio strong in connected cars. It's a really competitive environment now, and we need to fight for radio's prominence. We need to make sure the user experience is as good as it can be. So, I hope that makes sense to you all. It's an honour to be speaking with you today, and gracias. Muchas gracias.